Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger, and this is another episode of Under the Radar, where we talk all things film. And tonight I have with me two very special guests. We have, as always, the great Matt Roren. Hello, Matt.
Hello, hello. It's always a pleasure.
Like I said. And Mr. Thomas Pugliese. Been a while. Welcome back.
Yep, it's glad to be back. Coming right from a new state, coming from Texas.
Awesome. Welcome. We miss you here in New York, even during a pandemic. You are.
I miss everybody, but I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I don't see anybody.
That's true.
I haven't noticed anyone's gone because I've just been in my house.
It's as good as
you guys very much, but I am glad to be back here.
Yeah, for sure. And so since it's been a while, I'd love to hear from you, Thomas. What are you watching these days? What are your pandemic picks right now?
Well, as of right now, I'm actually watching the short-lived Crow TV series, which is called The Crow Stairway to Heaven. And I'm 10 episodes in right now, and I'm actually enjoying the show.
Okay. Yeah, I've honestly only seen the first Crow, but I think it's a great film. It's it's got a real gothic feel. It feels like a Batman type of storyline, and the vibe is just great. So
I mean, it's the first Crow movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, and like the sequels, on the other hand, I mean, I do like the second movie for what it is. The third movie was all right, but the fourth movie, I did not like the fourth movie though.
Oh no.
Yes.
Right.
But this TV series pretty much, it's like an adaptation of like the first movie with Mark Dacascos, who I know from the third John Wick movie. And like he's playing like Eric Draven, who was played by the late Brandon Lee in the first movie.
Okay. Are there a lot of nods to the original Crow, like nostalgic feel to it? Do they reference Brandon Lee at all?
Well, they don't really reference
Brandon Lee, right? Brandon Lee, yeah.
Yes, Brandon Lee. Well, there's not so much of mentioning Brandon Lee, but there's of course talks of the since it's characters from the movie played by different actors. There's also some elements from the Crow comic book as well. Like, here's actually a very interesting fact was there was this character from the comic book called the Skull Cowboy, who was actually originally going to be in the first movie. And they actually filmed a couple of his scenes. Like, he was played by Michael Berryman, who was best known for being in Wes Craven's Eyes movie.
The Hills Have Eyes. Yep.
Yeah. So they filmed scenes with him with Brandon Lee, but sadly after Brandon Lee was killed on the set of The Crow, they had to take him out of the movie because they didn't finish his scenes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so they included the Skull Cowboy in one of the latest episodes I saw.
Was that also played by Michael Berryman?
No, it's played by a completely different actor, and wow. Yeah, they changed his look though, because in the movie he actually looked like an actual skeleton wearing a cowboy hat. In this movie, is just a regular guy, but he looks like he's into voodoo though.
Cool. I like it. I have a very strong image in my head right now. It's awesome sounding. Cool. Matt Roren, what do you watch? I know you're always watching something good.
Yeah. I'm back on the old Disney train. So I'm in 1991 now. I finally entered that territory. So I just watched. Let's see. I watched the 2 unaired episodes of Little Mermaid Island, which was a Jim Henson production as part of the early deal between Henson and Disney. They only shot 2 episodes. Henson didn't like them. Then Henson died, and they just scrapped it. But it includes the original voices of Sebastian and Flounder and the Seagull.
And they're all puppets this time.
And they're puppets.
Okay.
But the casting for Ariel is weird because it's she's kind of bitchy. The girl, she's not nice like Ariel. It's kind of weird.
I'm just picturing like a middle-aged woman with a cigarette right now.
that would actually be funny, but it's just weird. She's kind of snotty to the sea animals. I don't know. But I watched that. There's 2 episodes of that. I'm in the middle. I'm almost done with the last episode of The 100 Lives of Black Jack Savage.
Okay.
Which, was a like a TV show that they did. It was made by Stephen J. Kennelly, the guy who did A-Team and Hunter and Rockford Files.
Cool.
And it's basically about like a Wolf of Wall Street type fellow who is being sought after by the FBI. So he like goes down to this secret island or whatever and buys a house that's haunted by a pirate. And basically the pirate's like, we have to save 100 lives so we can go to heaven. So the whole thing is like them trying to save people's lives. And,
so it's sort of a buddy cop movie, but
with a Wall Street pirate and a pirate.
That is so bizarre.
It is, and it lasted 7 episodes. Well, the pilot episode's like a movie. It's like an hour and 45 minutes, and then 6 hour, like 47-minute episodes.
You are selling this right now, and I'm very intrigued.
It's enjoyable. It's definitely interesting, and and I've been watching random other Disney related films. I watched Run, which you were talking about before. Patrick Dempsey,
so good,
classic.
Matt, I think you and I are like two of the few people who know about this great film.
It's probably one of the least known films of Dempsey's career. I mean, everyone knows, Loverboy and
Anatomy.
Can't
Buy Me Love.
Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love, and even Meatballs 3.
I think it's 3. Yeah.
3, yeah, because 4 was Corey Feldman. But
that's what, Thomas. Have you ever heard the film Run before? I mean,
I have actually not.
Okay.
Patrick Dempsey plays like this young, like, I mean, he's like kind of rich. Like
he's a law student.
Yeah, he's like a law student, rich white kid who ends up going to this gambling establishment, and he accidentally kills the owner's son,
who's like the head mafioso
and the guy who owns everything in town. He owns cops. Right. So basically, it's Dempsey running from gangsters, the cops, like the FBI, like it's a pretty fun, intense 80s film. Well, actually, 90s film. It's 1991. So I watched that. I watched Scenes from a Mall with Bette Midler and Woody Allen. It's a lot of weird stuff. I'm excited. I get to start watching Dinosaur soon, and they just recently put that on Disney Plus. So I'm stoked for that.
Nice. Matt, I love your taste. I commend you on all your choices. And actually, right before we started recording tonight, I was watching Rabbit Test. I'm halfway through, and this is a typical cult cafe choice. I'm not surprised. But it's got I love Billy Crystal, and he's the star. And
the cast list in that film is insane. It's like a who's who of like late 70s, early 80s like comedy.
Yeah,
it's like everyone from like you got Alex Rocco, Charlotte Rae. It's insane.
I think I like it more than Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jr. Actually, similar premise.
Yes, Billy Crystal gets pregnant.
Thomas, it's about Billy Crystal becoming pregnant and the fallout, and how he kind of deals with it, and he's like running around all over the place. It's a very zany movie.
It's directed by Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
Yeah,
and I think I heard her voice in one of the scenes. Like
she played a nurse.
Yeah.
Like a walk-on cameo as a nurse. Yeah.
So weird. But I don't know where you find these movies, Matt, but I love it. I love all of them. So thank you for that.
Oh, Michael Keaton's also in that movie. Really quickly, you probably did not notice him when him and Alex Rocco go to that empty dance.
Yeah.
The sailor sitting at the table that's like this is Michael Keaton.
I'm gonna rewind that. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go back to that. That's cool. All right, gentlemen. So let's go into our first review. We've got 3 reviews tonight, and the first one is called Greenland, and it is a Gerard Butler sci-fi action film about a planet-killing comet hurtling towards Earth, and Gerard Butler plays kind of like a macho family man. His relationship with his wife is kind of strained. He has a son, and they are basically trying to survive during this terrible, planet-killing comet. Morena Baccarin, the beautiful Morena Baccarin, rather, plays Gerard Butler's wife, and I think she did a pretty good job here. Typical, supportive. Spoiler, she does become supportive, but pretty typical. This premise is done. It's been done a million times. What it mostly feels like to me is 2005's War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg, which is a much better film. But I was actually pretty surprised at how much I enjoyed this one, because I'm not a huge Gerard Butler fan. I never really liked him in any of the Fallen films. But he was he kind of won me over in a way. I've always considered him a lesser Russell Crowe, not as gifted an actor.
I used to always get them confused.
They should do a movie
Russell
together.
Crowe, no.
They should do a movie together. That would be.
But I did realize while watching this, because I was like, I'm not a big Gerard Butler fan. Yeah. It made me realize that I have not seen Gerard Butler in an actual movie besides 300. It is the only movie with him I've seen until now.
Yeah. Well, he has his shirt on in this one, so that's good. Yeah. And I think, side note for 300, was he one of the actors who painted on abs or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them were comic graphically enhanced.
That's nice. So yeah, Thomas, I want to start with you. What did you think of Greenland?
Well, I have to agree that this premise has been done many times. I mean, it kind of reminded me a bit of Armageddon. Mm-hmm. So there was that, and there was also Deep Impact, another comic movie as well.
They both got the same year, 98.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, I did enjoy this movie, despite the fact that there was just a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So there was a lot of running, a lot of trying to survive. But I mean, Gerard Butler was actually pretty good. And the actress who played his wife, what was her name again?
Marina Baccarin.
Marina Baccarin, yeah, she was pretty good as well. I mean, I remember her from the Deadpool movies,
right?
And she was also in
she was
Gotham as well.
So she was the leader on the reboot of the.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, the cast is really good. I mean, and also Scott Glenn is in it, who he can pretty much do no wrong. I mean, he typically elevates any movie he's in. He's usually a supporting character. Side note again, loved him in the Daredevil series. Thought he was fantastic in that. I kind of wanted to see more of him. And side note here, Sam Elliott was almost cast in his role, but Scott Glenn took it and got it instead. So another bit of trivia: Chris Evans was initially attached to play the lead role, with Neil Blomkamp directing, but both dropped out due to scheduling conflicts. So yeah, it's a by the numbers sci-fi action thriller. Not a lot of new ground is being covered, but I had a pretty good time watching it. And I did
like the setting as well, because I would expect if there was a meteor coming up for us, I would think the whole world would go crazy just like this.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of the most realistic version of the story, because we have seen it so many times. This is the first time we've actually really seen people react to it. Usually it's oh, the world's gonna end. Like this, there was just I mean, there's kidnapping involved. There's a whole lot of shit going on in this movie.
Right.
It's a panic.
You're right.
And bargaining for your life and just trading and grifting and all kinds of stuff.
And the scenes with the military and the lottery and all that. That was very well done, in my opinion. It kind of felt real.
Yeah.
And, sadly, living in this world right now, during the state of things, this movie felt very it kind of hit home for me. It felt very similar to how we would react during an emergency of this nature. So I give the director kudos for the pacing. The screenplay wasn't stellar, but it served its purpose. And again, Gerard Butler, he surprised me. I thought he did a fine job, and also Marina Baccarin. So yeah. So, but obviously there are a lot better disaster movies out there. I mentioned War of the Worlds. You mentioned Thomas, Armageddon and Deep Impact. But I think this is a serviceable film. It's decent, and I think it's worth your time if you want some mindless entertainment. Thomas,
it's a good little time waster.
yes, exactly. Thomas, would you recommend this to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend it to like people who are Gerard Butler fans, or as a good movie just for sitting back, eating some popcorn.
Yeah, it's a movie we need right now. I think it's just a fun ride. Matt, would you recommend this?
I think I would. I mean, it was much better than I thought it would be. I mean, I really went into it just being like, oh great, another end of the world Gerard Butler film. And it was actually quite enjoyable.
It was good, yeah. And anyone who wants to see it now, it is actually available on Blu-ray, DVD, digital, and video on demand. So yeah, feel free to check it out. Got plenty of ways to see it. If you're a hardcore Gerard Butler fan, I say definitely see it.
If they're a hardcore Gerard Butler fan, don't you think they already would have seen it?
That's a good point. That's a very good point. See it again.
I'm sure Gerard Butler has seen this movie.
Yeah. I don't need to see it, Matt. I lived it. All right. So now for something completely different. Our next film is called Supernova. And this is the tender love story between two middle-aged men. One's a musician, the other a novelist. They are played respectively by Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth. Actually, Firth is the musician. Stanley Tucci is the novelist. And Stanley Tucci's character is the beginning signs of dementia. And this film basically chronicles a road trip between him and Firth's character as they pretty much try to soak up as much time as possible, kind of enjoy their time on Earth together as much possible before Stanley Tucci's character just basically completely loses it and succumbs to dementia. And this movie was so beautiful, so bittersweet, so heartbreaking. And I'm going to have to credit these two amazing actors. You've got Academy Award winner Colin Firth, Academy Award nominee Stanley Tucci. And the film is just basically these two actors, these two men. And it's not a movie about homosexuality. It doesn't it's about just two people that are in love and how this love can overcome any obstacle, especially illness. And it's just a beautiful film. And I think it might be, it's still early in the year, but I think this might be on a few lists for best of.
Honestly, watching this movie, I was just like, God damn it. If Tucci does not finally win an Oscar for this fucking movie, I'm going to freak out. And how much I want to make Matt, if he gets nominated, it's going to be as supporting actor.
I think he was second billing to Colin Firth, I think.
I know, but he is like the main character.
Yeah.
They're both the main, but it's like
right.
It's definitely a co-lead. So I don't want to see him get supporting. I want to see him actually take home the Oscar for actor. He's earned it after all this time and his performance.
I mean,
I agree too.
Colin Firth is amazing in this film, but Tucci really steals the show.
Yeah.
And he was nominated for, was it The Lovely Bones a couple years ago? About a decade ago, I think.
Yeah.
And he didn't win that year. And I don't know if he's been nominated since then, but yeah, he definitely needs at least an Oscar nomination for this because beautiful performance, absolutely powerful, amazing performance. Thomas, what were your thoughts on the film?
Oh, I mean, it was just a beautiful movie, a very emotional movie. I mean, it's like a movie that could literally make you cry. I mean, I mean, I really did feel for these two characters. I mean, I was actually really believing these two characters were in love, and like it was just very heartbreaking as well because like because we know that Tucci was like at since like his dementia is gonna one day kill him. Yeah. So like we feel for this character, and we know like the emotional like stress that it could happen. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like the message like just like accepting your mortality as well.
Yeah.
So that was also very powerful.
Out of all the movies I've seen recently, especially because we did a best of end of the year list of the best movies of the year, and none of them I don't think have ever touched on such emotional depth like this movie has, and that's why this movie is. I'm gonna keep this in mind for next year, Matt, because
I mean, yeah. Usually when we see movies about dementia, it's rarely that you see them knowing that they are going through it. Yeah. Usually it's kind of like it happens. I mean, it's like also like my grandmother, like before she died, it was like all of a sudden she was just like, I don't remember anybody. There wasn't, I don't remember that, like there wasn't like this building up to it. So it just makes it like that much harder is that he's playing this character who is like, conscious of the fact that he's losing everything, like, and that it's soon gonna just all be gone.
And he's completely aware of it too. He's conscious of what's happening to him, and there's like literally nothing he can do. This is kind of like
one of the saddest things is like because he's a writer, losing the ability to write.
Yeah,
and just like kind of like gets talked about in the movie where it's like, oh, are you writing anything? And it's like, I can't. And it's not so much that he can't think of things to write as much as it is like he physically can't anymore, and he's too like embarrassed or whatever to say anything.
There, the scene with the notebook where Comfort is looking through the note. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, guys watching.
I know, like, but seriously, like I was lucky enough to see this in the theater yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And God, I cried. I cried. I definitely cried. It was hard to hold that back,
Oh, yeah. I almost cried for the dinner scene at the end.
Oh my God.
But either butts.
Like, oh my God, like his speech and everything, and that like oh
yeah,
my God.
I'm really glad we
powerful scene.
I'm so glad we picked this movie because it really resonates.
I'm very glad you picked it too because it's been playing for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I've been like, oh, I should go see that. And then was just like, like I wasn't like super like pumped to go see it.
Right.
And then like saw it. I'm like, man, I wish I saw this weeks ago.
I mean, I saw I saw Firth attached. I just saw the poster and it hooked me.
Yeah.
And I said, I have to see this. Like, I'm very curious about what they're going to do with this love story. And
my only one problem with the movie is that Colin Firth's beard makes him look like Ted Cruz.
Okay.
It's a Ted Cruz beard. And I kept just thinking of Ted Cruz every time it showed his beard. I was like, oh, it's like the same salt and pepper. Like, you're like, oh.
Yeah. But you know what? It kind of works. And I really love both of these characters. I thought it was just so heartbreaking.
Such a heartfelt story. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I was expecting like, they would bash us over the head with the homosexuality, kind of like Brokeback Mountain, like really hammer it in. Like, we know we're watching a movie about two gay people, but this movie does it. It's just it's very tastefully done. It's not like very obnoxious about it. It's just, again, two people in love and, overcoming adversity, and beautiful film. So I say, everybody watching, see this movie. It's phenomenal. Even if you're not a Firth or Tucci completist, just see it anyway, because it's a great human drama. Thomas, would you recommend this?
100%. I would recommend it. See it.
Cool. Mr. Roren?
Absolutely. It's definitely, it's already on, one of the first must-sees of this year.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to watch it again. I'm probably going to watch it again in the near future, because There are certain things, certain nuances I may have missed, but yeah, definite replay value. And it is a little depressing, but at the same time kind of hopeful, because again, their love, it overcomes all. All right, guys, so we are going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more film reviews right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Randy Younger, Under the Radar. And our next film review, our third film review of the evening, is another fantastic film. And I'm, again, glad I picked it. It's a dramedy, sort of a dramedy. It's called Minari, and it follows a Korean-American family who moves to Arkansas during the 1980s to achieve the American dream. And I'm going to butcher his name, but he's on The Walking Dead, and he stars in this film. His name is Steven Yeun? Is it Yen?
I think it's pronounced Yen.
Yen? Okay, cool. All right, great. So Steven Yen is the father of this family. He's got a wife who's sort of, they're not really on the same wavelength, but she kind of supports him. They also have a very precocious young son, and their mother-in-law, who is the grandmother to the young boy. We also have Will Patton, who plays kind of a dim-witted farmer. And yeah, this movie, again, another beautiful film, great commentary on family life during the 80s and immigration, in a time, when it was a little difficult to become a farmer, I guess. A Korean-American farmer, and supporting his family, trying to, again, achieve that American dream. I love this film because of the performances, the direction. It's shot beautifully. You can see a scene behind me right now. That's the poster. And it is, it's one of the best films of the year so far, of 2021. So, Matt, what were your thoughts on the film, sir?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. It was funny that you picked it, because it was, I'm doing also, while I'm doing all this, February, where you watch movies in alphabetical order that you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
I was almost up to M, and this was my pick for M. So nice. I'm actually trying to only watch movies from 2020, 2021 for February. And this was my M. So it just so happened that I was already ready to watch it, and then it's such a great, it's like comedic, but I mean it's mostly a drama. Yeah. But it's got a little hint. I mean, the stuff with the grandmother I thought was so great. The way her and the grandson interact.
Yep.
Like
very sweet.
Great. But yeah, I mean the performances in it are incredible. Steven Yeun, I've been a fan of his since Walking Dead. Yeah. And he's definitely come a long way since his character of Glenn. In fact, I think oddly enough, he had to learn like fluent Korean a couple of years ago when he shot the movie Burning.
Okay.
If you have not seen it, I think it's 2018.
Yeah, I haven't, but I know about it.
Fantastic Korean film, and that was all in Korean, and it's like 3 hours long, but it's fantastic. but that was like his like Korean debut. And it's nice to see him in these roles where he's actually like, because I'm pretty sure like I think he was born here, so he doesn't like he wasn't fluent to begin, like he knew a little bit.
He's from South Korea actually.
Okay.
And aside from Walking Dead, I think the only thing I've seen him in was the like horror comedy Mayhem, which I don't know if we reviewed that together. That was a couple years ago, but that was a fun one. Yeah, and you know, honestly, I think he's a little bland. I don't really see much emotion coming from him in this movie particularly, but I think he did an okay job. All the praise has to be the son and the grandmother and their relationship. Like you said, really, really powerful stuff. Thomas, what did you think of Minari?
Well, I actually thought this was a really good movie, and it's actually a movie that actually I emotionally connected to because of the fact that these characters were like moving from California to Arkansas, and recently I moved from New York to Texas, and so it's like, you know, a pretty big move, and like, you know, it's an emotional move too because of the fact, like, you know, you're leaving behind so much stuff. So yeah, I actually felt for these characters, like this whole big change, as well as also the fact, like, you know, these characters were like, you know, going through like some financial problems as well, and like you know, the main guy is like trying to, like, you know, support his family, getting like a new job, as well as also trying to, like, you know, start up a farm in his land, and also trying to sell, like, you know, all the crops as well, trying to, like, you know, make a profit, but like, you know, it's not working out, like, you know, as well at first. So I really give it, like, you know, praise for, like, you know, for actually emotionally connecting. And like, I also really like the performances as well, especially from the son, and like as well as also from the grandmother. I mean, their scenes were pretty funny and also sweet at times as well.
Yeah, I love the scene. It was in the trailer. She's like, "Oh, you are such a beautiful boy." It's like, "I'm not beautiful. I'm good looking."
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's scenes like that all throughout the movie that are just so.
You're not a real grandma. Grandma's fake.
Yeah. Seriously, those two can be in a sequel or at least a spin-off TV series or a prequel or something, because their chemistry was perfect. So yeah, this was written by and directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who did a great job here. And again, I love the way they filmed Arkansas. It just felt real, you know, it felt natural, and it was just a really great look at life in the 80s in Arkansas.
Was it based on his life? I know it was based on someone's life. Was it?
Yeah, it was actually a semi-autobiographical take on Chung's upbringing. The plot follows the family of South Korean immigrants who tried to make it in rural America during the 1980s.
So I guess he was the boy.
Oh, yeah. And Stephen Yen's red hat was a gift from his mother when he was 17. Okay. And also worth noting, this is another great film from distribution company A24, who they rarely disappoint. I think the last thing I saw from them was On the Rocks, and yeah, that
was on both of our top 10s.
Yep, for sure. Thomas, are you a fan of A24 films or A24 films?
I've actually not too familiar with them, to be honest.
Smaller production company. They've been around a couple years.
They did Midsommar. They did.
They do Get Out, or
they did Get Out. I believe they did. Ex Machina. They've like pretty much all the best indie films from the best like 5 years have been them.
Yeah, those are pretty good movies.
Yeah, I mean, Midsummer. Oh my God, that is something that'll haunt my dreams forever. That movie, Thomas, did you catch Midsummer?
I did, yes.
That was a silly question because you're a horror buff, so sorry. I don't want to insult your intelligence. That movie.
They also did The Lighthouse, Hereditary, Uncut Gems,
yes,
90s, Waves. Like, I mean. Moonlight.
It's like, how the hell do they know how good their movies are going to be?
Jesus, yeah, like So many incredible films.
There's probably like this one guy in a dimly lit little corner of an office reading every script that comes his way. It's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna have to snag this title, and that'll be an A24 film.
Yeah.
Oh, great choices by that company. Cool, guys. So Minari, beautiful film. This might be on some lists later this year, Matt. I think it might be. And yeah, Thomas, you'd recommend it?
I recommend it, yes.
Cool. Matt, I think, yeah.
Certainly, most certainly.
Cool. I wish we could do like a little graphic of like some kind of like, not a thumbs up because that's probably trademarked, but we need some kind of thing. We'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. All right, so Minari is now out in select theaters and in virtual cinemas and will be released on video on demand on February 26th. So check that out. Okay. And I know that it came out last year technically. So yeah, but I think for me it was, and for you too, Matt, that was a shame. It's on the shame list, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Now we could cross it off in this year. Cool. All right, guys. Next up, I wanted to do, we just started this last week, but it's coming attractions and basically stuff that's coming up next week, this week rather. So February 26th actually is when these films are coming out. And these are just a couple of titles I came across. Again, you guys, if you chime in if you're interested or not interested, but the live action animated Tom and Jerry film.
Well, I'll definitely be taking my kids to go see it.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm gonna check it out because this looks like it could be just a dumb fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a fan of the characters, so
yeah. I'm just a little hesitant because the last movie like this was that I was excited to go see and was totally let down for was Looney Tunes Back in Action back in 2003.
Yeah, I it's one of those things where, like, even as a Steve Martin completist, that movie, I sold it, the DVD. It's just not a good one.
And what made things worse, it was one of the last films directed by one of my all-time favorite directors, Joe Dante.
Yeah. Joe Dante.
And I mean, come on, Looney Tunes.
And the cast is amazing too. And it's,
I don't like Jenna Elfman, but I like her because she's related to Danny Elfman, but that's a different story. But this movie was so bad. I mean,
it's one of those things that I've been meaning to rewatch just to see if it is really as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
But I have not gotten there yet. Maybe when I decide to do all of the Looney Tunes related things.
Okay.
When I'm done with Disney, I'll hit Looney Tunes.
We should do a commentary on it and just totally pan it like MST3K style. That's just a thought. Just a thought. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
it's no Space Jam.
Yeah. Well,
oh, I like Space Jam.
Aren't they remaking? Aren't they doing a sequel to that? It's coming
there is a new Space Jam coming out. Yes.
Oh,
with LeBron James.
Yep.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
It'll probably be just like Back in Action.
I would not be surprised. I would not be. But we've got, so for Tom and Jerry, the live action cast includes Chloe Grace Moretz, Colin Jost, Michael Pena, and Ken Jeong.
It's a cast I really like. So
right. Yeah. So I mean, maybe it's gonna be decent. Hopefully the score will be good. I don't know who's doing the score, but a film like that, if they had John Powell or Hans Zimmer or even Danny Elfman, would be amazing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Tom and Jerry. All right. Next up on the coming attractions, pretty much the total opposite of Tom and Jerry. It's called The Father. It stars Anthony Hopkins, Olivia Colman, Imogen Poots, Rufus Swell, about a man who refuses all assistance from his daughter as he ages. As he tries to make sense of his changing circumstances, he begins to doubt his loved ones, his own mind, and even the fabric of his reality. I smell an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, this was on my shame list. And then you guys were like, it's technically a 2021 movie. I'm like, okay. But this is one I've been wanting to see since we were at theaters all the time because they were showing the trailers for it in February and March, right before pandemic happened.
Right.
So I was looking real forward to it. Yet another movie that has to do with dementia, the downfall of Anthony Hopkins' mind. So it's going to be one of those dementia years.
Yeah. I wonder how this one stacks up with Supernova.
Yeah.
And Thomas, so I'm figuring you're probably an Anthony Hopkins fan.
Yeah.
You know, you're a horror aficionado. You probably love Hannibal Lecter.
I do.
Nice. I love that.
It just happens to be there.
Yeah.
I love that. Was so yes. Thank you for that.
He's actually got a magic hat where he can pull up everything. So like
Thomas is prepared for anything, and that is amazing. It's cool. But yeah, I think The Father is on my list of stuff to see as well. So check that out. Oh, here's another one that looks a little interesting. It's called Crisis. And it's got it's a thriller with Gary Oldman, Armie Hammer, Evangeline Lilly, Greg Kinnear, Michelle Rodriguez, Kid Cudi, about a drug trafficker who organizes a smuggling operation while a recovering addict seeks the truth behind her son's disappearance. So, yeah, I mean, I love anything that Gary Oldman does. So I'm hoping that this is another winner from him. We shall see. So that's called Crisis, and maybe we'll review that in the near future. We shall see. Let's see what else we got here. A horror film called The Vigil, about a young man who agrees to fulfill the duties of a shomer, the ritualistic practice of looking after a dead body over the course of one night. So, okay. Thomas, does that pique your interest at all?
Kind of does, actually, yes.
Okay. That's cool. Wow, these movies are so diverse. Here's a drama called Tiger, about a woman and a drug dealer who distributes stolen life-saving medication to desperate people during a pandemic. Oh, okay. Well, that's intriguing and very timely. It's got one of the Sprouse twins in it, Dylan Sprouse. So maybe that seems interesting. Okay, and last but not least, we've got a drama called Night of the Kings. A new arrival to an Ivory Coast prison is unaware that his storytelling skills will determine his life or death. All right. Intriguing. And on your end, what are you guys looking forward to? Thomas, I know obviously it's been a while, but what films are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Nice.
So, and I'm also looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Of course.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
And you haven't mentioned one movie that I know you're Halloween Kills, maybe?
Yep, look forward to that. I mean, I just hope, if the movie theaters are back open by the time that comes out.
Yeah, I know. I had Forrest on last week, and we were talking a little bit about the drive-ins, and we did a drive-in. We did Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre double feature, and that was a night to remember. It was amazing. Are there any good drive-ins near you in Texas?
Yeah, there's one actually about half hour away from where I live. I haven't been to it yet, but hope to go to it soon. And I did go to a movie theater about an hour away from me not too long ago, seeing the new Wrong Turn movie.
Oh, okay, cool. How was that?
Well, that was actually surprisingly pretty good. And there was times I was thinking I wasn't going to like it because, it was a reboot of the series. And I was kind of thinking it was a little too soon to reboot that series. I mean, because heck, it happened with Eli Roth's movie, Cabin Fever. And that reboot, on the other hand.
What I get them mixed up, but was Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World in Cabin Fever?
Yes, it was.
Okay, just yeah. That was one of the only movies he did. I know he was also Matt. He was in My Giant. Remember?
Yeah. I Am Your Friend.
Yeah.
I am your friend.
Oh,
Also, one of the few movies that really, 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 really tall guy was in.
Yep. With Billy Crystal, who's what, 5'5", 5'6"?
Yeah.
It's a recipe for comedy. Hey. Nice. And obviously, Matt, we've talked about this on previous shows, but what are you looking forward to that we haven't spoken about?
That we haven't spoken about. I don't know, man. I think we've talked about a lot. I mean, definitely the movie that I'm most looking forward to. I mentioned last time we met was Nobody. Just waiting for that sweet Bob Odenkirk.
Oh yeah. Yes, that looks very promising.
That's like one major, like that and the Marvel movies, man, are like what I'm really looking forward to.
We're probably gonna do a review. I haven't watched any of WandaVision yet, but I'm gonna wait for all of it to drop.
Nice.
Then I'm gonna binge it, and I think we're gonna do a little episode about that.
Fantastic.
Nice. Because that I think is the first Marvel show or movie to come during the pandemic, right? Or
it's the first anything we've had since Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah.
Wow. And Captain Marvel, I think, was before that. That was like early last year.
Oh yeah, Captain Marvel was like 5 movies ago.
Yeah. Thomas, have you been catching up on WandaVision?
Not yet, no. But
Okay.
I mean, of course, I did watch Mandalorian. So.
Oh yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's also on the list of stuff to talk about. Oh man. All right, guys. So we've got 12 minutes.
I just saw Marty McFly pop up in the poster for Minari. I thought it was pretty weird.
Where's
you moved slightly, so it was where it was. I just saw Marty McFly, and I was like, oh my god, he ended up in 1980s.
I mean,
Midwest.
So if it's 1985, it would make sense. So he could just take the DeLorean. He could drive from California to Arkansas. I don't know. Because the DeLorean can only go through time. It can't like go to any.
Well, I guess if you drove it under 88 miles an hour, you could just drive it.
Yes.
It's just like if you're on a Midwest highway, you're gonna accidentally go back in time. You're just gonna be like, I cannot just.
Yeah, but I think the animated series was the only instance where you saw the DeLorean actually go to different locations.
Yeah,
they never did that in the movies.
No, because it's a very cartoony thing.
Yeah,
in cartoons, time travel also is like wherever. Like, oh, now you're in the Great Wall of China. It's like that's not how it works. You'd be in the same spot.
Right. Awesome.
It's not like they have the phone booth from Bill and Ted. They can't go anywhere.
That's true. Oh my God, Thomas, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Did you get a chance to partake?
Yes, I actually watched that with our mutual friend Vinny Bonfanti.
Oh yes.
I loved it too.
It was good, right? And the more I think about it, the more I like it. I think that might require like a triple feature. Just watch all three back to back to back.
Love it.
Though they all have different feels, but they all kind of feel similar at the same time.
I think that's what made the third one work so well. And a lot of people are, they're like, well, it didn't really feel the same. And it's like, well, the first two don't feel the same either. Like, two is drastically different. 2 is my favorite just for the sheer fact that it's darker and weirder.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Like,
but the fun one is, the first one is a lot of fun though.
Oh yeah. The first one is hands down so much fun.
It's it's a good
time.
It's actually like a really good family sci-fi comedy.
Definitely.
The second one though, they get killed, they go to hell, they come back, they make friends with death. Yeah. And I saw that when I was 6 years old.
They're stationed, it's a weird ass movie, but I love it.
Now,
and I feel like people dismiss the fact that 2 and 1 aren't anywhere near the same, and they kind of just think of it as, well, it's not a great representation of 1. It's like, but it kind of is. It's kind of a perfect blend of both those movies.
Now, it's been a while. It's been about 30 years since I've seen the animated series, but did that tie in with the movies at all? Was that like,
It's just another one of those, like, you know, like Beetlejuice or whatever, where it's like this like, you know, or Back to the Future, where it's just like, we took this property, we have the idea of what they're about, you know. Oh, they traveled through time, sure. What they say, dude, a lot, okay. And then they just kind of go with it.
Oh my God.
You know, it is what it is. It's cartoon quality.
That's another topic, and Thomas, I might want to include you in that in a future nostalgia time. We'll do a little Saturday morning cartoon discussion. I don't think there's anything more nostalgic than that. So I think
movies that became cartoons.
That's even better.
Yeah,
it'll be an under the radar nostalgia time crossover event, and
we can talk about the RoboCop, Toxic Avengers.
Yeah,
there's
Back to the Future cartoon.
Yep,
there's so many.
Mask, Shadow. Was the Shadow anime? I don't think the anime. They had action figures for the movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, now I'm getting.
I remember there was an animated Mace Ventura.
Yep.
And a Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. And the Mask.
Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Never forget about those.
I'll be honest with you guys. You know, being 35 years old right now and seeing one of those shows now, one of those cartoons now, it is a little juvenile. It doesn't really hold up, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of like,
Yeah, it's more the idea of it, the nostalgic factor that really makes me happy.
At least like the writing, some of the writing on Real Ghostbusters though is pretty good. Okay. It's one of the few shows that actually like, but I think also the head writer is also oh my God, what's his name? He's a Marvel Comics writer. He wrote like Straczynski. J. Michael Straczynski.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Wrote for Babylon 5. He was like the head writer of Babylon 5, and he also wrote like the most popular Spider-Man storylines of like the 2000s, and he also wrote for Thor around the same time.
Okay,
great comic writer. But he was also, I think, head writer a couple seasons into when they started getting really weird on Real Ghostbusters, like when they bring in like the devil and stuff.
Yeah. It's been a while. I revisit, but yeah, I think I saw a Ghostbusters episode about a year or two ago, and it doesn't really hold up. It's kind of silly, but there's probably like select episodes that really.
Well, they also did that great thing in those cartoons where they give you some kind of weird sidekick, and of course Slimer being their sidekick in this, just like, I'm sorry I did that. Like
that was the spinoff. It was like, I think
Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And
they always like Punky Brewster. They did that show, the cartoon, and then she just had some magical friend named Gloomer. It's like, I'm Gloomer.
Oh God!
Where it's just like this weird thing. They gave you some kind of weird alien or whatever to play with.
Wow. All right. But yeah, when I have kids, I'm gonna show them all of that. I'm gonna get the DVDs to all of that stuff.
I have the box set of Real Ghostbusters. My kids, for a while, they were watching it like all the time.
Perfect. I love it. Introduce a new generation to the greatness. All right, guys. So we have a few minutes left. Thomas, any plugs? Anything going on with you that you want to talk about?
Well, I guess probably mention my friend's shirt company, Gutter Garbs. Like, there's some new designs based off of the movie Bride of Chucky. Nice. So got some pretty cool designs right there. They also have a sale that's continuing until tomorrow for the holidays.
Okay. Wow, you're like their brand ambassador. That's awesome. What are you wearing? What design is that? I can't see it.
Oh, that's actually Freddy for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nice.
Oh, I see it. Oh, wow. Woof. Cool. It's awesome.
Yep. Over there.
How many of those shirts do you have now?
Probably over 10.
Okay.
Yeah, all different kinds of designs.
Gutter Garbs, guys. Check it out. I love it. Matt, what's going on at the cafe? And this we're talking about this week and next week, because this show is actually So
all right, well, actually I don't have next week planned. So
okay.
As you're seeing this, we will have already shown 1989's Limit Up, which is a weird tale. It's one of those weird ass deal with the devil kind of movies.
All right.
The devil in this film being the actress Denitra Vance, who was I think the first gay Saturday Night Live cast member. First out.
Oh, I think he was kind of flamboyant.
It's a she.
Sorry, I'm thinking of a different gay person.
Yeah, you think who I think was a season later, but yeah, so she plays this character Nike that grants this woman a wish, and so it's a weird one. It's definitely a not really well remembered film. It's just another oddball choice.
I mean, that goes without saying with the Cult Cafe. Like, they're all weird and obscure films. And
yeah, I've been trying to. It's one of those things where I really decided that, since I'm not doing this in a theater right now, that I would show mostly things that my boss would be like, no one will come see that. So I figured, like, why not show the weirdest shit? Because it's like no one's paying for it. So
what was the last thing you showed in person?
Virgin Suicides.
Okay. So the center, they're more geared towards art film.
Yeah, like, whereas that one, that was a movie that played its initial run at the cinema. So that was a fairly easy one to get done. Sofia Coppola, of course. Yep. And then the week before, and then the first week that we didn't have scheduled was Me, You, and Everyone We Know was supposed to be the following week, which is Miranda July, whose film Kajillionaire came out this year.
Yes.
It was fantastic. But that also, I actually saw that when it came out at the cinema. I saw it 3 times in the theater at the cinema. And it's one of my all-time favorite movies. So I'll probably eventually show it when we get back. But yeah, usually we try to do things mostly that people will come to.
Yeah.
I do like to throw an oddball in every once in a while, but I try to pick things that are either like very classic comedies or like very like cult classic indie film.
How active is your boss with the selection process?
It's basically I'll suggest things. Most of the time he'll just be like, okay. Every once in a while he'll be like, I don't know about that. If it's like something like really like left field, but then he'll suggest something to me that's even more left field. So it's kind of great. Like every once in a while he'll just be like when we showed I can't remember which movie it was. There was a movie we showed a couple of years last year, where he was just like, "Oh, I saw this movie on like AMC this weekend or on TCM this weekend. Have you ever seen it?" And I'm like, "No." So I check it out. He's like, "I think we should show it." And I'm like, "Sounds good." But
nice
stuff like that where he'll just be like, "I just saw this movie. You should watch." So
sounds good. All right, guys. So we're about out of time, but I just wanted to mention Hunger Ward, a new documentary about starving children in Yemen. It's a very important film, a very important cause. So please visit hungerward.org and click Get Involved so you can donate to hospitals in the Yemen area. It's extremely important that these kids get fed. I mean, it's a big issue. So just check out the film. Try to donate. It's for a good cause. So guys, Thomas, Matt, thank you so much for being here tonight. This was great.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah,
Mr.
Great.
Please see, you guys are welcome anytime. You know that. I want to thank everyone watching at home and on your devices. This has been Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger. And if you want to check out new episodes like this one of Under the Radar, tune in Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And again, thank you everyone watching, and we'll see you next time.